Hello, friends, strangers, whoever's watching, or whatever is watching. Let's not call in the last people or things we mentioned on last week's video. But anyway, so I was pulling cards and recording a video within 10 minutes. That's not beyond 10 minutes, I guess, but like that's not crazy long. Anyway, I'm a yapper, Mercury and Sagittarius. I'm gonna yap, okay? Try to cut my yapping so that we can make this video and make it work, okay? But anyway, so I had already pulled the cards and rolled the Astro dice in the last part that I deleted because I was like, this is too much. We have the cards already, which makes it nice and easy and simple for you. You have to not really stand here and watch my craziness. But back of the deck, actually, before I get started, we have the back of the, or slow down. We have the Tarot del Toro deck. This is Guillermo del Toro's tarot deck that we'll be using today for this week's reading. This reading is timeless, although it is for the next 7 days and starting on Monday. Feel free to watch it at any given moment. It is timeless. I always find readings from like, I don't know, years ago that still resonate or somehow like relate to my current situation. So readings are truly timeless for the most part. This is entertainment purposes. Anything I say here is not your will or destiny. It is just simply a snapshot of the current energy. So, for that reason, if I say that you are very aligned to, for example, making money or whatever, then position yourself to make money, right? Position yourself in a sense of receivership where you can actually align with that energy and match it versus just being like, oh, cool, he said this is going to happen. I'm just going to sit back and wait and, let the world do its thing. No, we don't want to do that. That's not how that works. We still have to do the work. We still have to meet it halfway. And let's get started with the Astro dice for the week in the first house. Being the first in the first house, being related to the ascendant, which is also known as the rising sign in Virgo, it means that our sun, being the soul, is very aligned this week when it comes to our approach to life. So, we're being asked to not only create the sense of spiritual boundary when it comes to relationships, being the seventh house in Pisces in the situation, but also to being mindful of how we are setting ourselves up when it comes to self-care, routine, even pets and relationships to pets this week, rental properties even, and just health in general, being mindful of how we can position ourselves to fill our own cup so that we can also fill others' cups, but making sure that we're filling our cup first. We can't pour from an empty cup. You've heard this before, I hope. So, yeah. So, back in the deck energy, we have the general theme for the week is going to be the 13th card, is the Major Arcana card. 13th card is also reduced down to the number 4 in numerology. 13th card, the death card, represents transformation, death, rebirth. Not quite literally death, so it's not that scary, truly, but it is a shedding away and releasing and closing out of a chapter so that we can create this new sense of stability, being the 4, right? 4 represents like grounded, stability, protection. It represents 4 like sides to a house, 4 feet to a table or chair. It's a very stable, secure number. Also represents the home. So there is that message again of rental properties or home being a theme, and how much of a home do we have in our own bodies, right? Relating back to that Virgo energy, where it's like being mindful of our own health. We start out the week on Monday with the Five of Wands. So the Five of Wands is representative of fire energy. Five is a very unstable number. It actually tends to cause a lot of friction when it comes to being related to our sense of passion and the things that we want to accomplish. But it asks us to take a step back and to say, is this worth my energy? Is this something that I should really continue to invest in and fight for? Or is this not going to really change the situation? So that's when we decide, are we going to take a step back or are we going to keep fighting, right? We move into Tuesday, and I love that it leads into the King of Wands. The King of Wands being the highest suit of the wands. So it goes from like ace all the way to 10 in wands, and then it goes into the page, the knight, the queen, and then the king. So the king is the highest suit, which means that it is the most evolved energy and masculine energy of this fire energy. The king has also gone through all of this transformation. It knows how powerful and transformative fire is. Transformative, right? Death card. And how it can forge a new way by burning everything down. So on Tuesday, I love that we moved from Monday, that like friction, and a petty, like arguing, fighting, like energy, into this sense of like mastership and saying, hey, I will forge my own path. Tuesday, which is Mars Day, and related to fire signs. And we're gearing up to this Aries new moon on Friday, but we'll get there. Wednesday, we move into Temperance. Temperance is another major arcana card similar to the Death card, and she is the 14th card. So we move from the energy of death into the temperance. Temperance also represents Sagittarius, another fire sign. With temperance, her main message is moderation. It is also a connection to our spirit guides and angels. So on Wednesday, we're very like centered and communicative. I believe Wednesday is also the day that Mercury enters Aries. If not on Tuesday, I'm not 100% certain, but it's one of the 2 days. So there's this sense of like spiritual connection with our ancestors that we're being asked to like take a part of, right? To be mindful as far as like how much we're giving and how much we're receiving. So, being that it's also the 14th card, it represents the number five in numerology. So, five again being very unstable, unsecure, and also shaky. So, it asks us to connect to a higher spiritual message or light so that we can find stability both in this reality and in the unseen reality. The Thursday card, we have the King of Goblets. So another king here, and the King of Cups, essentially. He is representative of water, the highest suit of water. So this is mastering our emotions and riding the waves that life throws at us, knowing that emotions are emotions and simply just that they are here to visit us, maybe stay enough to teach us a lesson, help us reflect, but also they're not meant to stay forever. They're meant to pass, right? Life is an ever changing ebb and flow, and I feel kind of neat, like cliche saying that, but it's true. We've all gone through really highs, low lows, and it's only human to experience both. So on Thursday, really feel your emotions, seek what it's teaching you, maybe even get creative on Thursday. Find a way that you can channel that energy to transmute it. On Friday, we have the Four of Pentacles. So Friday is that new moon in Aries. That new moon in Aries comes with this Four of Pentacles. Again, we saw it last week. So there's this reiteration of the Four of Pentacles telling us to be mindful of how much we're spending, being grounded, being centered, but also holding tightly to our expenses and our money, not overdoing it, right? Planning ahead. And then we move into Saturday. Saturday, we have the Five of Cups. So the Five of Cups is indicative of um, walking away and moving away from things that are no longer for us. But there's a sense of grieving with that. So Saturday, you may feel like all is lost, more to gain. After five, numerology comes to six. Six is the number of Venus. It represents harmony and stability and balance, equilibrium and exchange of energy. So on Saturday, yes, be grieving and letting go, too hung up on it. And then Sunday, we finish off the week with the Valet of Wands. So there's this new sense and wave of ambition towards this new path, preparing ourselves to take on. Maybe we're taking on a new course, a new passion project, but we're very ambitious and happy go lucky towards whatever this new venture is. Go at it alone. And I love that we end the reading for the week with this Valet of Wands while we have this sense of transformation. So changing our way, creating a new path, and looking towards a brighter day, truly. If you would like to book a reading with me, thank you for watching. If you would like to book a reading with me, feel free to DM or follow like link in the bio, and feel free to follow me and hit like. And yeah, appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Stay cute, stay blessed. Bye.